everyone, to another episode of the world's greatest news and reviews.
Giving you opinions about nerd stuff is our superpower.
I'm Captain Mao.
And I'm Weapon 2, folks.
And thank you for joining us on this official review. And your eyes do not deceive you. We have not one, but two special guests joining us on this review.
This is unheard of. For a review?
Be the most epic fucking thing ever. First time we've ever had guests on a review, and we have arguably two of the greatest guests of all time. Gentlemen on my left, introduce yourself.
My name is H. Dresden. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Nice. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Dresden. How have you been?
You know, things have been pretty good. It's been, we've been doing a lot of fighting of the coronavirus using magical means. So it's been extensive labor on that part. But other than that, it's been great.
Nice. Greetings, young lady. Introduce yourself.
Halestorm, back again.
So, welcome back, Halestorm. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
I want to say this is a momentous occasion because, as you viewers of the podcast know, these two currently are tied for the record for most uploaded podcasts. Both veterans of two podcasts. This is their first official review, and they are joining us to talk about Bloodshot. So, we'll keep the first part of this review spoiler-free. Weapon 2. This is a little near and dear to your heartstrings, so go ahead, tell the kids, what is Bloodshot about?
Well, yes, folks. I'm a big fan of Valiant Comics, the third largest comic book universe. Bloodshot is one of their flagship characters. I think he came out when they started in 92, and he's a character that is, you would loosely describe as maybe Punisher and Wolverine together. I like the character a lot. I'm going to start with about this movie, and how I felt about the movie is I thought the movie was good. I'm going to stick to that. There's some things that I think should have been different, and part of the things that I didn't like was Vin Diesel. I don't think Vin Diesel is a good actor. I think this movie could have been way better with a different actor. When it comes to some action scenes like that, he's great. Okay, great. He's running around, and if there's a thing where he needs to yell at something at somebody, that's great. But when it came to the scenes where he really needed to throw on his acting chops, he just seemed like he was kind of a combination of yelling and whining his lines.
And so let's specify real quick. You are a fan of the comics. You have
I'm
read
a complete fan about the comics.
But like that's an important distinction to make.
Yes.
Okay. Hailstorms. Have you read the comics?
Not Bloodshot.
Bloodshot.
I'm a fan of different Valiant comics, so I want the movie to do well because I want some of those.
Okay, so you were hoping it would do. What did you think? Initial impression?
So I actually liked it, and I thought while I was in the movie theater, how do I like Vin Diesel? Because I was ready to hate Vin Diesel, and I felt like it worked for the character because he didn't really. I mean, he's a guy that's now made up of nanobots, so he can act wooden because he's not really a person.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
So it didn't bug me, although I don't like looking at his face any more than necessary.
Right.
It still didn't bug me.
But overall, you liked the movie.
Overall, I liked the movie. I thought it was really good.
Okay. H. Dresden, experience with the character. What'd you think?
I do not have experience with the comic book character, so I don't have Weapon 2's experience in that regard. But I think I have the opposite perspective that he does, strangely enough.
Go figure.
I think that what I like about this movie and what I like about Vin Diesel in general is that he's really not an actor. He's kind of like a leading man. So like if you watch The Maltese Falcon with Humphrey Bogart, it's really not that much different than like, Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart. Like they're kind of the same guy in both of those movies, but you still like it anyway. That's the way I feel about Vin Diesel. He's like, you watch Pitch Black or you watch this movie, you're getting kind of the same thing. And I kind of like that thing. So that works for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I had never read a Bloodshot comic. I knew kind of about the character. Don't have much experience with Valiant either. So I kind of went into this probably as cold as you can. Mm-hmm. To me personally, I think Vin Diesel himself is getting a little played out. That's mostly because of the Fast and Furious franchise, and I just don't like how he's this unstoppable superpower thing in every fucking movie that he's in.
Right.
I had very, very, very low expectations for this movie. I really thought it was going to be, at best, average, at worst, complete dumpster fire of a movie. The movie I kept referencing was Babylon AD. That was a mid-2000s movie that he was in. That wasn't terrible. It just wasn't great. And I thought that was, at best, going to be what Bloodshot was. I don't know if it was my low expectations. I was pleasantly surprised. I actually had a really, really good time in this movie. I did like it. There are some issues I want to talk about in spoilers. Part of the problem is, I feel Vin Diesel works to this movie's advantage and disadvantage simultaneously. Because like you said, he doesn't have a lot to do. Anyone in this movie could have done what Vin Diesel did, but it works with this character because he's totally one dimension. Revenge, 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 fight, 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 look badass, do the dramatic stare. Vin Diesel does that as good as anybody, right?
Right.
You're not getting a lot of range. You're not getting much. And like him being... In the beginning, this isn't too much of a spoiler, but there's a fight scene, right, before he gets any kind of superpowers, and he's just destroying people, just wrecking them. And I was just like, you know what's funny? He's not doing anything different from Dominic Toretto in any of those Fast and the Furious movies, but it makes more sense, at least with him being like this trained soldier badass. And then when he gets superpowers, him being this unstoppable Terminator, I'm like, well, fuck it, Vin Diesel does this good. Like, this is one, it's like The Rock just whipping everyone's ass. It's like, you could buy it, and I buy into it more because he's this badass soldier.
Right.
So, but he didn't make the movie for me. Like, anybody could have done those things.
Can I tell you who I thought two great characters in this were that I loved?
Who?
My favorite character was Wiggins.
Yes!
Wiggins was
God,
Wiggins
so
was
fun.
awesome.
Oh my
Wiggins.
God.
I want to be his best friend.
Love
Right?
Wiggins.
Movie
Right.
dramatically
And-
improved when he showed up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
KT, the actress,
A-
I think she did a really good job.
AKA a freaking angel that fell from heaven. She might be the most attractive human being on the planet.
She was.
But she did great. But she wasn't
She was
just-
very nice to
I was
look at.
She looks like younger Megan Fox. I wouldn't think that.
But better and smarter.
But yes, but that's the thing is like when you first see her, you're like, oh well, she's just the eye candy. But then she was actually good and
she
actually
did.
had some range
Right.
and was actually but the three of them.
There was a lot of good actors in this, and I mean, sadly enough, I think Vin Diesel
was the weak link.
Was the weak link
Yes.
in this. And here's the thing: I don't hate Vin Diesel.
Right.
I think that he's kind of getting to kind of that edge where you're starting to believe that he's this super powered action hero. Not that he can't. I mean, some of these guys played into their old age, and that's fine. But just for me, it's just he just. For a comic book character, because we're so used to these comic book characters now that are just they spend so much time in the gym, they're larger than life. He kind of doesn't measure up to them.
No.
And like I said, he's a great action guy. He does the action stuff. I mean, I guess if they try to keep him away from things where he's really trying to throw on his thespian hat and become this great actor, because on those things where he's really supposed to be talking about something serious and getting some emotion in there, and just not buying those.
He's got
those
one
scenes.
trick and he does that trick well. Let's keep doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I think I did like him more than you did in the role because I think that he looks a little rough around the edges and he looks like somebody that was torn apart and then put back together. And I think that worked for this.
It did. And I think that the action scenes were all entertaining. They were inventive. They were clever. The CGI was weak. This movie needed another $50 million
It did,
in the
yes.
budget.
Yeah.
But it's not going to make that money, though. So.
No, so it's not. So
Exactly.
like it did
Exactly.
what it had the money to work with,
Exactly.
but it was still like good. Like the action scenes, I wasn't rolling my eyes like this is boring. Like I was actually engaged in it.
Yep.
I was just like, that could look a little better, but whatever.
Well,
Right.
you're harder on CGI than I am, anyways. For me, yeah, it wasn't as great as we've seen
Marvel
lately,
stuff,
but
yeah.
but was it good enough for me to enjoy?
Yeah,
the movie?
it didn't take away.
It didn't yank me out of it. Didn't yank away my suspension of disbelief. Absolutely.
So it looked like a mixture of CGI and animation, though. Is that even a thing? Because to me, there were parts where it was like,
Cartoony.
was that drawn?
I have no idea.
That's just poor CGI. That's just not rendered
yeah.
That's
properly.
just them not really
It's-
putting the
just-
texture.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
just it's not
Yeah,
done.
the lighting effects and textures aren't as good or whatever. I think the thing I like about Vin Diesel in general, and I think it carries through to this movie, is that he does not make movies that push the boundaries of anything, right? Like, he makes car chase movies. We've seen car chases in a bunch of movies. He makes creature feature movies, like, whatever, the Riddick movie, like the first Riddick movie, Pitch Black, right? He does those, and, but that didn't push any boundaries. But what he does is, he explores the boundaries of what he does really, really thoroughly and well. And I think this movie works in that regard, too. He doesn't all of the stuff that he's doing has been done better and more thoroughly in other movies.
Right.
But he makes it enjoyable. It's
He does, and I enjoyed him in this more than I have in any movie in recent memory.
Agreed.
and also I think that he does a
agree
job
with that.
of making it better than it needs to be
Yes.
for what it is.
You can tell he's trying. He's trying. You can tell he gives
Right.
a shit, and
Bless
he was
his
trying.
heart.
There's
Yeah.
a bit more nuance
you know
to it
what?
than there needs to be.
Right.
I think.
You know what else
That's
I'm
my
happy
point.
for? He made this movie. Okay,
Yeah.
he's
Oh, yeah,
probably
this is
one
a
of the key
passion
reasons
project.
that this movie
Yep,
was
totally.
made. And I'm glad.
Yeah. So,
So-
I'm on board for a sequel. I'm on board for an extended universe. Like
Likewise.
it did enough for me. Like again, it's not the best thing I've ever seen. It
It's
did
not
enough.
gonna- not
Right.
gonna
I
be
know.
extended
I know.
universe.
We could talk
You
about
know.
this in the podcast.
Yes.
But I'm on board for whatever they want to do with this moving forward. My only other issue, he was a little overpowered. Like he was like unstoppable. But we will get to this in spoilers. But wrapping up spoiler free. Any other overall thoughts you guys want to talk about throughout before we get to spoilers?
I just think it was better than it needed to be.
It was better than I was expecting. I say, so should people go spend money and go to the theater to watch it?
Absolutely.
I say yes.
I saw it in IMAX. and I thought
Can
it
I
was
say
great.
something else?
Yeah, this is your show. You say whatever you want.
I went first here, and I was worried that both you guys were gonna just say this thing was a pile of dog shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I was worried. I think that I don't want people to think that I don't think that this was a great movie and that I thought, a good movie, and that I was excited to see it, because I was kind of keeping my comments down a hair because I thought they were just going to go on a
To be fair,
So, yeah. So
we are a lot more critical than you are.
pleasant-
So.
You guys are, and I'm pleasantly surprised that you guys did not hate this movie and you enjoyed it.
I actively thought you were going to be happy with my reaction once we found out H. Dresden was going to be a part of
wanted
this.
to point that out.
I kind of figured he was going to like it because he asked me what I thought of it, and I texted him some brief thoughts, and he's like, cool, that's exactly what I was hoping for. I was like, okay, well, then he's going to like it, because if that's what you were aiming for,
Right.
it's exactly what this movie is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit better than I expected.
Exactly. And that's all I wanted, because I thought it was going to be terrible.
Exactly. I thought it would be average.
Right.
I think it's a little above average.
Hailstorms? Pay
So
to see
did
it?
you see the comment on the Facebook page about so I had posted that we'd seen the movie and we were going to record a review and it was coming out soon, and basically it was like, do you think we loved it or hated it?
Yes,
And
I did see that. Yeah.
somebody said, aren't we required
Yes.
to love it? Basically, I can't remember exactly what he said, but yes, you have really hyped this one up, Weapon 2, because you want Valiant to succeed. And I'm sad that this release of this movie coincided with the friggin' coronavirus. Because
My theater was empty.
how many? Yeah,
Yeah.
we had. There
I
were
know.
less than 10 people in the theater.
Yeah.
We're never going to get to see a fair evaluation of this movie.
I hope
in
studios
the
take it
box
into.
office.
I hope
right,
they
you're
take it into
absolutely
effect,
right.
though. I really do. Or
Yeah, but they
How
don't
do you
look
do
at
that?
that. They look
How
at
do you
that.
know? There's
Yeah.
no algorithm that
No.
takes that into effect.
They're not
put
going
the
to go,
pandemic-
we didn't make monies, but that's okay because of this. They're going to say,
Right,
well,
no,
we didn't
no,
make money.
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we still want people to go see it.
Yeah, go see it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Go see
See
it.
this
Okay.
movie.
Theaters
It's a
are
good
empty.
movie.
You're not going to get a disease. Go see
Yeah,
it.
Go
you
watch
got
it.
plenty of room. Nobody
Real-
has to
if-
sit right
I
around
mean, you
you.
could get a sexually transmitted disease in,
That's true.
in an empty theater. You know, that's easy. But
Very true.
That's a
okay,
different story.
so that does it for the spoiler-free section. This is your official spoiler alerts. People, what do you
Okay.
guys want to talk about? Spoilers.
So you want me to go first?
Obviously.
So-
We
Okay,
know
here's the
you
deal.
want to go
Obvi,
first.
you
So-
want to go.
Right.
Here's the deal. There is a lot of things that I like about this movie and that I like about the character. I'll tell you one of the biggest things that was hard for me to deal with, and that is the fact that Bloodshot, the character, he's a gray color. He's gray. Now, here's the other thing, though. He can make himself look like anything or anybody. So, I guess for me, it would have helped me if they established that trademark look or that or what is supposed to be his regular unchanged look.
Yeah.
And then if for other large parts of the movie they wanted him to go back to a regular human form or something like that, I could buy that. But I really missed seeing the iconic look of Bloodshot.
I would have been cool if just anytime he's in a fight, he goes gray.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime he was
Yeah.
fires. But it was only when he was like about to
die.
overheat.
It
Yeah.
was
then,
like a 20-second sequence when he turned gray.
yeah.
And here's the other thing. The other thing is going along with the look. The circle on his chest in the movie was made to seem like it's just like some kind of internal heat thing that's going on, which it's not. It's a port where in case I don't think we've really gone into this on the review, is his blood is made of nanites, little tiny robots. Okay, so that's basically his blood, and so there's a port. And another thing that they didn't get in, another thing that they didn't get into in this that much was his other function being made of nanites is that he communicates with computers and electronics, which they didn't show in this. They showed that
They
he
kind of
can,
made it one way.
he can take commands, but it was never. I mean, even when he was trying to track down Gina, his imaginary wife, he had to put his phone out and he had to get directions off his phone. Where Bloodshot, you should already interface with this thing and know where you're going without having to do that. So that part, along with the fact that his chest is this porthole, the reason it's red is because it never heals. That's the one part of his body that can't regenerate all the way and heal. And so you'll see a lot of things where it looks like there's blood dripping.
So is that a
down.
vulnerability too?
It's not necessarily a vulnerability, but it's this thing where in some drawings it's just shown as like a nice, neat, round circle. But in other things you'll see blood dripping, and it seeps through the shirt because it's actually blood. It's really a wound right there of a sort. So I guess the thing they didn't do is they didn't explain that, and they didn't have it portrayed that way in this movie. So I guess I kind of missed that part of it too. But for me, those are really the only two things that kind of took me out of the character a little bit, or that I missed in the movie. Other than that, it was just kind of a fun action movie. Yeah.
Halestorms, what you think?
I mean, not knowing any of that, maybe they were saving that for Bloodshot 2, The Revenge or whatever. I don't know.
This time it's personal.
Right. The only time I thought it was hokey is there was like a car thing where at one point I leaned over to you and I was
when
like,
it was spinning around in a perfect circle.
I was like,
same
look,
thing.
Too fast, too furious.
Yep.
I could have bought the whole a car spinning and he's taking cover, but it wouldn't be going like it's like on a perfect pivot. It would have been kind of going off to the side or something. So,
that's what they had the budget for.
Good job.
That was the thing where I don't know, if you're using somebody like Vin Diesel in your movie, wouldn't you try not to have anything that would put people in a different movie they
break
were
immersion,
in?
right? Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Or
Absolutely.
you realize that like probably the majority of your fan base are Vin Diesel fans and they want to see him do drivey kari shit. So
Are there Vin Diesel fans? Like a thing? Is that a thing? I mean,
sure.
I think they're too
he's
fast,
got a
too
pretty
furious
active social
fans.
media. He's
say
actually
that.
pretty popular.
Yeah.
The highest grossing, or one of the
weird.
highest grossing franchises
Of all,
right?
like it is.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it
that's
is the
because
highest
they made
grossing
a million
action franchise.
movies. I mean, like
They've only made like 7,
9, 12, 14.
a lot.
23.
647,000.
So another thing to piggyback off of her thing, the other thing that kind of took me out as far as the way things work and character thing was you have KT who's supposed to be able to breathe through this thing on her
with
thing.
you on
Yeah,
this.
this is my
And
issue.
anytime she got out of breath, you can obviously see she's breathing through her nose and her
Exactly.
mouth.
Yeah.
So somehow fix this so we're to believe that was the thing that she was.
And also,
breathing
I
through.
thought that when she was doing like the fucking karate or whatever underwater, that was gonna open her up and she was gonna breathe with that. But it just looked like she was holding her breath. Can she breathe underwater? Is that a thing?
I'm sorry, I don't really know much about her character at all. But you would think that if it's that high tech, there could be some kind of
something, yeah.
amphibious gill.
That's what I
gill
thought, and it didn't
interface,
do that.
Filter.
I'm just saying, I started
installed.
following that actress on Instagram. It's Dresden.
I thought about that actively, what you guys were talking about, and what I actually thought was probably like if she has like preparation, she can probably hold her breath longer than the average person.
Probably, yeah.
But like if somebody just shuts it off, it's like, well, that sucks. Like,
Yeah, it's like if someone tells you to hold your breath versus they just come up and take your
and then
breath.
choke you out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that goes worse.
So what else did you think, spoiler wise?
Spoiler wise, I said a little bit in the non-spoiler part, but I think everything that this movie does has been done better and more thoroughly somewhere else.
It has a lot of tropes that it
Right,
follows.
exactly. But, like one of the things I liked the most about it was the idea of like, you have these nanites and they connect to other computers and things, but they can also be used against you. Like in if you watch like Ghost in the Shell, and one of the main characters in Ghost in the Shell 2 particularly, the main character is this guy named Batu, and he's a cybernetically enhanced human. And like at one point he gets hacked in a convenience store, and all of a sudden he just starts like he's like a bionic human. And he just starts blasting people because he's completely under the control of his implants. And then he gets rescued. He's like, well, that wasn't good. I shouldn't do that. So like the idea, like I like that idea and how it's sort of expounded upon in this in general. And that's what I like about this movie is it takes things that we're familiar with and it kind of explores them a little bit more and gives it a little bit more human of an element,
Right.
Which I think is like the specialty of what Vin Diesel does. I like the movie. I really enjoyed it. There's really nothing to complain about, I don't think.
Yeah, for me, I pretty much agree on every point you guys have made, both good and bad. I feel like we're all kind of on the same page.
Yeah.
I want to
absolutely.
say that the opening sequence was the worst, and for a
I
minute,
disagree with that.
No, but hang on, I'll get to it. So the
Okay.
movie starts. The opening sequence I thought was cliche, was generic, it was annoying, it was boring, it was like poorly written. Everything, like I was prepared to hate this, and I was actively thinking of shitty things I was gonna say. But then when it gets to the point in the movie when you realize that is somebody writing it and it's a program and it's a storyline that's in
Exactly.
effect, and then they make a joke at it where the main guy's just like, you're already stealing freaking every trope, like dude dancing in a meat butcher shop. You're stealing the trope from every single genre. It's like no more right for you. I was like, oh, so it felt like cheesy, stupid, generic writing
On purpose.
because it's cheesy, stupid, generic. And then I was just like, movie, I thought you sucked. You're actually being a little bit better than you need to be.
I loved that part.
Yeah, so it turned from me being like, this is dumb to like, fuck, that was clever. Like, okay, so you see what I'm saying now?
See, I agree with what you're saying, but I think even that has been done in like at least 2 versions of Total Recall, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, and even that, it's like, okay, this is still sort of tongue-in-cheek almost. It's like, it's been done before. I'm not, like, it doesn't make me think a whole bunch. It just
but
makes
it's
me
been
relax.
done how many years ago? So really,
But again,
in the
To
collective
some of
memory,
these people, it's new.
Right.
yeah, in the collective memory of the cinematic world where we make a remake of the same movie that's already come out every 20 years.
Right.
But
10
I
years.
mean, like in like a sort of cyberpunk genre, which is this kind of like, again, it's a little bit cyberpunk, it's a little bit a lot of things. Like that's a fairly common theme. Like
Right.
nobody that reads that kind of stuff is like, oh wow, I never thought of that before.
Right.
So it's just like it gives you something comfortable that then lets you appreciate what's happening with the characters and with like, 'cause, like again, it's a vehicle for Vin Diesel. Either you like Vin Diesel or you don't.
And if we're being totally honest, I think part of I still hold to what I said, but I think a big part of it was not that I was expecting to hate it. I think a little bit of me wanted to.
Okay.
And I have to
Right.
to acknowledge my bias there. And it wasn't until about the halfway point of this movie, and I was just like, I think I like this, and that's okay.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. Yep.
I feel like you look at things that way a lot, though.
It is,
and that
but-
which is different from him, which he wants to like everything.
Right. But I feel like one of my a characteristic that I'm proud of is I will 100% admit when I was wrong. Joker,
well, and I think that's
came
what
in
makes
and I was
your
just like,
reviews good.
yeah, because I'll be like, oh, my bad. I talked a lot of shit and that was unwarranted. So,
Backing down.
yeah. let's just-
I mean, I think I don't
didn't
know
like
if you
Joker,
can
by the
critique
way.
it for not
Saying
being
that.
original.
You liked it?
I didn't like it.
I didn't think you would like it, actually.
I don't think you can critique it for not being original when, I mean, even it sounds like the character, if what he could do was the nanites could rebuild him to look like anything. Well, I mean, we've seen that before too. It's Terminator. It's,
Right. He was total. There was total Terminator
Yes,
vibes.
this
Yes.
is a
Targeted
character
Lannis.
that
Exactly.
that
Yes,
originated
Yeah.
years and years ago. So some of that stuff has been either
It's the same-
borrowed
Exactly.
or just
So
through
it
natural.
recycled a bunch of tropes from many
Yeah.
different genres. It didn't do anything necessarily better, but it also didn't do anything worse.
Well, and so
it was
that
perfectly okay.
And what original ideas do we have anymore? I mean, really.
Well, and that's kind of my point. But you can come up with original ideas. But I feel like you can judge a movie kind of in 2 ways. You can do like how big of a bite does it take, right? Like Blade Runner took a huge bite. Like that was a crazy movie to think about, and like you're like, oh wow, who is really a real person in that movie? Whatever. Like that's a really serious thing. And then like this is still firmly within the area that Blade Runner explores. And it doesn't try to expand anything, but it's like it's an enjoyable place to just kind of hang out
Yes.
and like just dwell there and like look around at the like what would it be like if you didn't know what the world was like? What would it be like if you didn't know what reality was? That's fun. I mean, we've asked those questions before, but it's fun to dwell in that question and think about it and be like, wow, this is what it would be like.
It didn't really push the envelope, but it
Exactly.
didn't. But it didn't need to.
Exactly,
It did a good job of what it was
Yeah,
doing.
it's like Black Mirror. A lot of the stuff on Black Mirror, those are all established things, but it's like, let's just explore this idea a little bit, right? You know, let's what would it be like to be a person in this situation? I like that.
Yeah, no,
I do.
that's really
Yeah.
good. All right, guys.
Totally.
Any closing thoughts that we want to touch on before we wrap up?
I've got no closing thoughts.
So,
I know you do.
so my closing thought was, I think the only additional thing that I kind of missed at this was I wanted some type of a punch or something at the end of this
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, there was no post-credit scene.
emphasize
Agree.
like some type of a reveal or some
Yep.
type of a thing that's
Yeah.
It's
gonna
a building
lead
universe, right?
into or
Link
build
into
into the next
larger
movie.
universe or whatever.
It was
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh yeah, that was really something,
It's
guys.
happy
let's
ending. We're
let's
done.
jump in
Yeah.
the truck and hitch up the trailer and get out of here.
Well,
you
and
know?
part of me feels it's just like I don't know if they knew they were getting another movie, so it kind of was wrapped up in a neat little bow.
I'll tell you what, it couldn't have hurt to put a little pow at the
You know
end.
what?
You're
Though?
right.
We're
right.
so used to now with the way Marvel
True.
How much
did
is Marvel
things
spoiled?
to a sneak into the
Right.
next world, whereas movies used to be
Like, they have to wrap it
standalone,
up.
wrap it into a package.
Exactly, totally.
Yeah.
But even if this was a standalone movie, I would have liked some type of a thing
Right.
about showing
This is a larger
him
world.
as the character,
Exactly,
where
yep.
he's
Yeah.
at now, or something. I
Also,
don't know.
he was a little overpowered, just a tad, and that's fine. It worked, but then
See,
I
I don't
think
think so.
I
think
don't
it was
think
alright.
so for his character. I don't.
No,
think
you're
that-
right.
But then at the end,
he's a robot, bro.
It's
okay,
a
but
robot.
I don't know anything about him.
He's
Like,
a robot, bro.
He felt a little overpowered. And then at the end, the dude's like, "You
He's
were a 3, now
robotic.
you're an 18." And I was just like, "Well, fuck."
Yeah.
Now he's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. I think the end to me was the part where it was the most felt like a Fast and Furious movie. It's like, okay, wow, now they're gonna hitch up their car to a trailer and they're gonna go live outside the realm of like governance. Like weird. Where does that sound familiar from?
Right.
So yeah, exactly.
And
But
I
yeah,
also
other
think
than that,
I'm sorry. I think this was the director's first feature film. So
Well, if that's the
kinda cool,
case,
he did a
then-
good job.
Then that's a good.
Yeah, he did a good job.
I didn't know that, and if that's
Yeah.
the case, this is a good first outing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be mad at this.
Well,
'cause
hopefully they don't blame the whole coronavirus numbers on
they
this
will.
movie.
They're
can't-
gonna
they
blame
can't
Vin
help it.
Diesel, and they're
They
gonna
can't
blame
help
the
it.
director,
They can't
and
help it.
yeah.
Yeah, they can't help it.
But all right.
Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed.
I want a sequel. I'm,
Me too.
I'm,
I would.
I like
Bloodshot.
one.
I'm rooting for you.
I'll watch more. I will watch more.
Yeah. So I think
Absolutely.
that's the general consensus. It was better than it needed to be, a little bit better than we thought it would be, and we're excited for a sequel. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we would like
Fingers
a sequel.
crossed.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yes,
what
absolutely.
did you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Let us know on the Facebooks, on the Instagrams. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was good? You know, whatever. I want to know. I want to know what you thought. Tell me what your issues were.
Please go see it.
Please go see it.
Please
Yes.
go see it. Please go see it.
With this kind
It's
of
worth your time.
These kind of movies need to be supported.
Yep.
It can't
Yeah.
just be
Exact-
Marvel and Disney shit that makes all the money.
No,
Right, and
please
it-
no.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
and-
That's
and
a
it-
monopoly and it's boring.
And also, I mean, we all seem to really love most everything Marvel does. We're a little bit ambivalent about a lot of stuff DC does, but some of it we really like. And this is a whole nother comic book universe that I love comic book superhero movies, all that stuff.
Yep.
So they could tap into this, and I love lots of stuff. I like lots of variety and options. So I hope that they can go with this even further.
And I need a faith movie to happen, and that's probably going to be at the very end of any Valiant movie.
So this needs to get going for
This
it.
Fair
needs
enough.
to
Yep.
happen,
Okay.
yeah.
That's fair. Yep.
Probably going to be done by Paramount, because
Right.
Paramount has all the other characters.
Right, but Paramount will look, and if they think that the Valiant characters
But
are losing
Sony
bet,
has shown that they're willing to deal and show and share characters like with Marvel. So maybe it can still happen. Fingers crossed.
True.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm hopeful.
Hopefully.
Nice.
Hailstorms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
H Dresden. Thank you guys for both coming on.
Thanks for having
This
us.
was
for having
fantastic. Again, we've never had guests on a normal review. This was great, and I look forward to you guys coming back for more if you are so inclined.
Okay, here's the deal. We've started Patreon. We've already have some supporters, and we appreciate that. We want to thank everybody for that. We want to do a quick little commercial about our Patreon, and we're going to have some videos that that some people have seen but are going to be on there for all the Patreon users. We're going to have exclusive videos. One of the videos that we're going to have, but probably by the time this thing comes out for our Patreon subscribers in the second and third level, is the lost episode of our podcast
we
that we
find
talked
it?
about. I think it's
found
been
it.
found. We uncovered it. We sent some archaeologists, some
People
private
went to digging?
investigators.
I hope you guys washed your hands after you touched it. That's all I'm saying.
we dug it up. We uncovered it. And we took a look at it because we kind of forgot. It's been so long. It's very, very outdated. It's been so long since it was made.
Shot that in December, man.
What we've discovered, one of the many things about this video, if you want to see, is it's the most drunk that Weapon 2 has been or will be on a podcast.
Hang on. And Hailstorm wasn't sober. So let's just put that out there also.
Yeah, that was
So-
crazy.
So that's good times for people to want to see, and we're
That is quite
also going to.
I'm into it.
Right away, we're going to start sending out both stickers that are available to other people and exclusive stickers. I think our first sticker that we're going to send out is a sticker of our new logo that we've had printed off.
That I'll put right
Yeah.
here.
And then we're going to start sending out some exclusive stickers that you're only going to get as a Patreon. But the nice thing is they're free to you. We're going to mail them to your house. You're going to give us your address. We're going to mail these to your house. You're going to get them in your snail mail, and you don't have to pay for them. They're free to you.
Well, I mean, once you subscribe to the page.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Oh, sorry. They're free as a subscriber for you supporting us.
You
No.
got to give us money still.
No, I didn't. What I was saying was
there.
we're not going to make you pay again for stickers. These stickers are for you that we're giving to you as a thank you. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. So really exciting stuff happening over on Patreon. Great stuff happening on the Instagrams and the Facebooks. A lot of that goes to the webmaster, Miss Halestorm. Thank you very much. Fucking killing it on that platform.
Thank you.
And I think this is very much the most exciting time in TWG history.
Yeah.
Popping out lots of great videos, lots of great quality videos, having lots of awesome guests. H. Dresden,
Notwithstanding.
That's the word I'm like. Brown water.
Right.
But again, thanks to both of you for coming on. It was a pleasure. Can't wait to see you guys again.
They say that most of your brain shuts down during cryo sleep.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the world's greatest news and reviews.
Yeah,
If you
like
enjoyed, be
and
sure to
subscribe,
like and
hit that
subscribe.
bell.
Hit the bell for notifications.
Ding.
Peace.
Ding.
Peace.